White House cell.
Melania Trump.
Do you think there's still people there that you can trust?
Yes.
Still working out?
Yes.
Michael Cohen.
She's still alive.
Yes.
It's a big statement.
And now, in a year with so much on the line, we're right there.
Good evening tonight from Washington. A very busy news night.
America's #1 news source, ABC News. Straightforward. It's being called the most consequential election of a lifetime. The most important vote. And with so much on the line, it demands the most straightforward news-making, legal answers, the most informed voices from all sides. The countdown is on to the vote. What will our future look like? Is this week, George? It all is out right here.
Un mouton est monté sur notre voiture.
Together on Good Morning America's concert series, sponsored by CarMax.
What's the most innovative daily news podcast out there to listen to every day? Well, the Edward R. Murrow Awards say it's Start Here, the daily news podcast from ABC News. Even the New York Times calls us a top news podcast worth listening to.
Téléphone
Start Here, free
vide.
podcast.
Nous avons fait du camping au milieu du bois.
If you think you could never ever fall for a con, don't be so sure. The con premieres Wednesday on ABC.
We are back with this towering inferno in South Korea. Flames spread through this 33-story building. Around 80 people suffered smoke inhalation. Dozens had to be rescued from the roof. It's unclear how that fire started.
A close call for a pedestrian who ignored the lowered gates at this railroad crossing in London. He barely made his way across the tracks. We saw it there before a train tore through at full speed. Rail authorities have a simple warning. Don't be like this guy.
We turn now to a consumer alert. A new scam is targeting online shoppers. Here's ABC's Andrew Fajii.
This morning, a warning about a scam targeting Amazon shoppers.
Do not believe it, because I found out the hard way.
A shopper in Jackson, Tennessee says after they ordered something on Amazon, they got a call from someone who said they were an Amazon customer service representative. That caller claimed the shopper had been charged twice and had to download a cash app to get their refund. But instead of getting money back, the shopper says $1,000 was stolen from their bank account.
They need to be caught and punished because they're hurting people.
The shopper says the caller knew their Amazon account history and their personal information. As one of the biggest companies in the world, Amazon is familiar with scams. Amazon telling ABC News it works hard to protect against bad actors that fraudulently use our brand, reminding customers to be skeptical of unsolicited calls and don't make payments outside the Amazon website. The Better Business Bureau says once a scammer takes money, it's hard to get back. And with online shopping increasing during the coronavirus pandemic and the holidays approaching, customers must be vigilant.
They're targeting anybody with a phone. So whether it's a business or whether it's somebody who doesn't own their own company, you're a target.
This victim says they'll now think twice before cyber shopping.
Now I'm afraid to even buy anything online anymore because you don't know who's out there watching your phone or your account of these companies getting your information.
The FBI reports an increase in online shopping and extortion scams during the pandemic. The Better Business Bureau recommends before ordering anything online, read those customer reviews and do some research to make sure the company is legit. Kenneth, Mona.
Stay vigilant, Andrea. Thank you. Coming up, the new effort to pass an economic stimulus plan.
Plus, the shark attack in Florida, a man suffering a gruesome injury. He describes what it felt like. Next.
Now, with so much on the line, ABC News, America's #1 news, is right there for you live on Hulu with stories of strength, stories of hope. Because now, when it matters most,
Hulu has live news.
Hulu has live news. Hulu has live news. And that news is ABC News. ABC News Live on Hulu.
ABC News Live on Hulu.
watch the news you need.
Thanks so much for streaming with us.
Streaming to all Hulu subscribers right now.
Hello, this is Montana Highway Patrol. You're looking for a couple of missing teenagers.
That's right. Last seen in a red Focus.
The steering wheel's interested. Lock the door.
are fine.
Got ourselves a predicament.
Nous avons dîné. La lumière. Lune. Ils sont tombés en panne d'essence.
The most consequential weekend of this hyper-political year.
Right as you get closer to casting your vote every Sunday on ABC.
You're on the ground. You're on 18,000 tons. Atop of these. Ismail. David. 1-0 from Hurricane Michael. You can see just home without your home.
Sont tombés.
Tonight, just 25 days until your vote is counted. A public health crisis, COVID-19 inside the White House, and a nation
Mouton.
with stakes so high. World News Tonight with David Muir is America's
Route.
most watched newscast.
Nous avons écouté du hip-hop au milieu du désert. Avons écoute du désert.
J'espère que la batterie est pleine.
And we are back with a tourist who survived a shark attack off Miami Beach. Mark Bowden was only a few feet into the water when the shark bit down on his leg, leaving an 8-inch wound right below his knee. Bowden, who lives in California, said he dismissed a warning from another person on the beach who saw fins in the water.
It just felt like something punched my leg really hard. I was hoping it wasn't a shark, but I knew that was a possibility. My leg, something didn't feel right. It didn't feel like I got bit, but it didn't feel normal either.
He made it back to shore on his own and spent one day in the hospital.
Let's turn to politics now. The new effort by the Democrats to examine President
J'aimerais passer une semaine seule dans les bois. Aimerais passer une semaine seule. Bois. Les bois. Nous avons fait du camping au milieu du bois.
What's your take on this move?
This is very much election year politics. And this panel, first of all, it's never going to pass the Senate. And it's probably not even going to pass the House because most of the House members are back in their districts. And even if it were to pass, there wasn't enough time for this panel to actually do anything significant.
Ils ont écouté du hip-hop pendant toute la nuit.
This is very much Nancy Pelosi.
Écoutez du hip-hop pendant toute nuit. Il adore regarder la lune pendant des heures.
Trump yesterday called Biden's running mate Senator Kamala Harris a monster and a communist.
Adore.
Does this play well with his base, or does it
Regardez.
just turning off more women voters?
Yeah, this is a classic example of President Trump taking the campaign strategy and just putting way too much heat on the ball. Now, the campaign strategy has been to try to label Joe Biden as basically, yeah, you think he's a nice guy,
Pendant.
but he is really a Trojan horse for the radical left, for the AOCs, for Bernie Sanders, and that this is another example of President Trump taking that message and trying to apply it to Kamala Harris. Now, the problem is that you insert words like monster, like communist. People, I think, are a little bit more skeptical of those labels, and then you end up getting a backlash to these attacks.
Looking to Capitol Hill, we saw the president.
Un mouton est monté sur notre voiture.
Stimulus plan this week, but now he's calling for a bill just for airline relief and stimulus checks. There were some talks on Capitol Hill yesterday, but do you think there will be any real progress on this before the election?
No, I think there's very little chance, less than 10% chance of anything substantive coming from these talks. The thing is that a lot of Republicans on both sides of the aisle and many Democrats Democrats too were stunned that Trump walked away from the table earlier this week from these negotiations because in their minds, you know, if you're President Trump and you're facing a tough re-election, what could be better than sending a $1,200 check to every American voter with your name on it?
Sûr.
Our thanks to Politico's Alex Thompson.
In sports, 2 NFL games have been rescheduled because of coronavirus. The Broncos, Patriots, and Titans-Bills have been moved to early next week. Last night, the Bears beat the Bucks. The highlight was the one-handed touchdown catch by Jimmy Graham. Later, Tom Brady took out his frustration on his tablet. Meanwhile, in baseball, the Dodgers and the Yankees won last night.
It's not the tablet's fault. Coming up, the astronaut with a tough choice: go to space or his daughter's wedding.
Also ahead, how the most famous fly in the world is getting even more attention.
Now, with so much on the line, ABC News, America's #1 news, is right there for you live on Hulu with stories of strength, stories of hope, because now when it matters most,
Hulu has live news.
Hulu has live news. Hulu has live news. And that news is ABC News. ABC News Live on Hulu.
ABC News Live on Hulu.
Watch the news you need.
Thanks so much for streaming with us.
Streaming
Voiture.
Hulu subscribers right now.
When you're caught, get set.
Get ready.
The team with the highest
Ils sont tombés en panne d'essence.
with 100,000 watts.
To shop
Bam, bam, bam.
till you drop.
Oh, mommy, down.
Leslie Jones host Super
Son.
Friday Sweep for your Sunday,
Tombé.
October 18th on ABC.
Right now, at this defining moment in America, with so much on the line,
We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright.
from ABC News, Turning Point, the groundbreaking special Nightline series,
Sont
taking over, taking on, this
tombés.
moment for America, my America, your America, our America. This is Turning Point, the special Nightline series,
We gon' be alright.
late night on ABC.
What's the most innovative daily news podcast out there to listen to every day? Well, the Edward R. Murrow Awards saying it's Start Here, the daily news podcast from ABC News. Even the New York Times calls us a top news podcast worth listening to. So if you like getting behind the biggest news stories of the day, inside all the details, the backstory, and what will happen next, then listen to Start Here, the daily news podcast from ABC News. It's like no other news podcast out there. Even the critics agree. Listen free on Apple Podcasts.
Breaking news, content, analysis.
And no shouting. The time is now.
Un mouton est monté sur notre voiture.
Getting streaming everywhere, right to you.
On GMA.
Time to check the pulse on this Friday. We begin with a famous fly growing more popular.
Everyone wants to be seen with that flying fly.
Monté.
Our own Kenneth Moe. It's been 2 minutes on the vice president's head during the debate Wednesday.
And now you can buy a Halloween costume. The debate fly wig costs
Monté.
about $50. There's also a bobblehead being produced by the Bobblehead Hall of Fame.
And fans online are now demanding that actor Jeff
Sûr.
Goldblum reprise his role as the Fly on Saturday Night Live.
That's good, guys. That's real good,
We
right?
got you. Well, next we're getting the first look at the original cast of The West Wing back together again.
Martin Sheen, Rob Lowe, and the rest of the gang are reuniting for an election-themed episode. Take a look.
Hey,
Mr. President, welcome back.
monté.
What are you doing?
Just trying to get some pizza in an uncivilized world.
The show debuts on HBO Max October 15th. It will benefit a nonprofit aimed at boosting voter participation.
Next, a tough call for a veteran astronaut.
Chris Ferguson faced 2 choices: fly into space or go to his daughter's wedding here on Earth. Guess what? He chose the wedding. Ferguson is stepping down as commander of Boeing Starliner.
Family is Ferguson's most important crew. He wouldn't have missed that wedding for the world or for space.
Yeah. Finally, the caterpillar with some unique hair.
It was seen in Venezuela. Take a look. The furry bug is drawing comparisons to a certain world leader's hairstyle.
Meanwhile, if you're exhausted by the political climate right now and just want to get away, you can go live under a rock. Hotels.com has a new offer. 5 days living in a cave in Mexico during the election.
This is what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live.
Neighborhoods are underwater.
24/7 streaming news source, ABC News. Imagine breaking news, live events as they happen, streaming live, non-stop, straight to you. Imagine instant, incredible access to the most compelling live video. Original, on the edge, breakthrough storytelling. ABC News, National Geographic, ESPN.
Non, mais juste pour que je comprenne bien, quand tu parles de lutter contre les inégalités, tu partirais du courant de pensée sociologique marxiste pour